Today we're talking about something every leader, creator, and change maker needs to understand. Social capital, the real currency that determines how far you can go and how fast you get there. This isn't about the money in your bank account. It's about the trust, relationships, and influence you build over time. At its core, social capital is trust, reciprocity, and shared value created through relationships. Unlike financial capital, you can't store it or track it on a balance sheet, but it quietly shapes your leadership journey and your ability to move through change. There are three forms of social capital that matter most. Bonding social capital is about depth, the close relationships that give you belonging, stability, and support when things get difficult. Bridging social capital is about breadth, the connections that expose you to new ideas, new industries, and new ways of thinking beyond your immediate circle. And linking social capital is about access relationships with people who hold influence, authority, or decision-making power. When these work together, you're not just building a network, you're building an ecosystem. Social capital becomes the compound interest of relationships. It grows quietly over time, but when pressure hits, it's what determines whether doors open or stay closed. Strong leaders are intentional about who they surround themselves with. There are 5 types of people every leader should have in their circle. First is the sponsor, someone who speaks your name in rooms you're not in, and advocates for your advancement. Then there's the mentor, someone who shares wisdom, perspective, and hard-earned lessons from experience. You also need a connector, the person who naturally expands your reach by introducing you to people and opportunities you wouldn't access on your own. A truth teller is just as critical, someone who respects you enough to challenge you and tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. And finally, the peer, someone walking a similar path who pushes you forward while offering mutual accountability and support. These aren't casual relationships, they're intentional, values-aligned connections that strengthen your leadership foundation. These are the relationships that matter most when you're navigating uncertainty, stepping into new responsibility, or building something bigger than yourself. But social capital doesn't grow by accident. It requires reflection and deliberate effort. Take a moment to think about who's currently in your circle. Where are your relationships strong? Where are the gaps? Do you need deeper trust, broader perspective, or greater access to influence? This isn't a feel-good exercise, it's practical leadership work. Social capital compounds over time, meaning the earlier and more intentionally you invest, the stronger and more resilient your leadership becomes. In a world where change is constant and clarity isn't guaranteed, leaders don't succeed alone. Skills may get you noticed, but relationships determine how far you go. Social capital shapes your resilience, your credibility, and your long-term impact. And here's the thought to leave you with. Leadership is never a solo act. Social capital is the compound interest of relationships, and the stronger it grows, the more prepared you'll be for whatever comes next. If you want to lead with influence and build something that lasts, invest in your relationships like they're your most valuable currency, because they are.